So thank you very much. Today is our main speaker, Dr. Bedbir Arya ji, and other distinguished participants and the speakers who are sitting in the Malviya Bhavan Hall. I am very much sorry that I could not be able to join this program offline due to some university examinations are going on in our university. So I feel proud myself to get associated with this seminar or webinar, and on the chronology of history of India as well as of the world. So I have heard already Dr. Bedbiri Arya last time on the Buddha Jayanti, and he was talking about the how chronology of India can be restructured. So he had given so many hypotheses. Today I have also heard his all the hypotheses and the questions and answer interactions which are going on just now. So as we know that I will speak within the given time, 15 or 20 minutes. I will summarize my things. So whenever we are talking of chronology of history of India, we have to first decide about the chronology of Buddhist era or Buddha era. And Dr. Bedbir Arya has given much his hypothesis that how the date of birth or date of Nirvana can be restructured 1000 year ago. But the scholars of the Buddhist studies, we have to decide ourselves first of all. There are so many, you can say, chronology in our Buddhist field also, or Buddhist studies also. Whenever we are talking about the research methodology, so most of the research methodology are based upon the, you can say, historical analysis or literacy method. So when we are talking about the research methodology in the field of history, so Trevor Ling, he has given two types of research methodology in the field of history. First of all, that there is a literalist method in which research materials are collected or documented from the literature, and they are analyzed and they are interpreted, and they are mainly based upon the, you can say, beyond the space and time. But whenever we are talking about the Buddhist historical method, we have to discuss each and everything with the date and chronology of our Buddhist era. There was some time that when Buddhist scholars, whether I am audible or not, Anvita ji?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. There was a time that when the European scholars and Western scholars were making a doubt of the historical personality of the Buddha. When we got the Roman Dei inscriptions, then the historical personality of the Buddha was, you can say, established, and it was said that there was a person who was named as a person Buddhist, you can say, Gautam Buddha Siddhartha. Again, there are so many archaeological excavations, and then the theories were, you can say, established. So now, when we are talking about the cooking of the our excavations on the archaeological websites, but when we are talking about the history of Buddhist studies, we have to mainly depend upon the, you can say, the main four types of chronology. If you see, there are four types of chronology, which Dr. Bedbir Arya was also talking about that when the traditional chronology of the Buddhist life before the 1988 Göttingen international conference on the date of the Buddha, there were 4 types of, you can say, chronology, which we are having in our Buddhist studies. The first is called as a long chronology, second is the corrected long chronology, and third is the dotted record, and third is called as a short chronology, and fourth is called as dotted record. And we are very much aware that Indian government of India has established that the date of the birth of the Buddha is the 563, and the Mahaparinibbana of the Buddha is 483. But if you are talking about the long chronology, which is mainly based upon the Deep Vansa, Mahavansa, Samantapasadika, and the commentarial literatures on the Sumangal Vilasani and others, they are saying that the date of the Buddha was 544 BC or 43 BC. So this competition derives mainly from our Buddhist text, the earlier text, like Deepavans and Mahavans, and it is mainly accepted by our, you can say, Sri Lankan scholars. Further, it is also a starting point of our Buddhist era. So from the 544 BC, which was decided that as a date of the Buddha, it was decided the Buddha Sasan era also, and which is used by all our Southeast Asian countries, mainly the Buddhist countries from the Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, or other countries. The second, that is called as uncorrected long chronology, it is mainly accepted by the virtually no modern scholars of Buddhism, like Richard F. Gombrich or K. Norman, other scholars. They are not accepting this corrected long chronology. The reason behind is that this chronology places the parinirvan of the Buddha 218 years before the consecration of the King Asoka. As we know that King Ashoka was crowned in 251 BC. And according to this corrected long chronology, it is said that the Ashoka coronation was done in 326 BC, which is 60 years before that. But Richard F. Gombrich says that Ashoka's dates are approximately established by the Srinokism between the 13 major rock edict. The 13 major rock edict, which is very much famous and which is dated by the scholars in the 13th year of after his consecration as a King Ashoka. So the 5 monarchs of the Hellenistic world named therein as reigning at the same time. So the date of the edict must be 255 BC. So this is the thing. So there is a difference between the 13 or 60 years, the things. So again, in other words, in Gombrich terms, there is a slippage of 60 years. He is saying that there is a gap of 60 years in this chronology. That is the correct chronology. That is not accepted by our modern Buddhist scholars, which is simply cannot be accounted by those scholars. Again, this discrepancy of the 60 years between the date of the Maurya king Chandragupta as provided by this tradition and the date which has been established by the identification of the Chandragupta with the Centrocotus of the Greek writers, the synchronism discovered by the Sir William Jones in 1793. So Turner concluded that dates of the king Chandragupta and Ashoka were calculated too early in the chronicle. So this is the hypothesis by Richard F. Gombrich. Again, a very useful discussion of the calculation of surrounding the corrected long chronology can be found in Andre Beru 1953 article related with the date of the Nirvana of the Buddha, published in the Journal of Asiatic. So he has given about this corrected long chronology. Besides that, each Bechart, additional article on the date of the Buddha, an open question to the Indian history, provides much additional information and data on the corrected chronology, long chronology. So again, we are coming to the short chronology. When we are talking about this short chronology is also not accepted by our European scholars, those who are doing the researches on our Buddhist text. And this is mainly represented, this short chronology is mainly represented in a large number of early Indian Buddhist texts, primarily in Sanskrit, Chinese, Tibetan, or Khotanese text also. So here, the coronation of the king Ashoka took place precisely 100 years after the Nirvana of the Buddha. So in that short chronology, it gives back 100 years of the date of the Buddha. So there are even two passages in the Deepavans. I am not going to give the quotations, but in that Deepavans, it is said that the long chronology is also tally with that. So it is there are some problems with the short chronology also, because all of the canonical and post-canonical text in above three traditions, that is the Pali, Sanskrit, and Chinese or Tibetan, count 100 years between the Buddha's death and Ashoka's coronation. So this Chinese version, there is a text, Samay Bhed Pravachan Chakra. He note, according to that, there is a 116 years between these two events, and the variant number 160 appears in the Bhavya Nikay Bhed Vibhang Vyakhyan. So there is another difference in the Sanskrit text also, but even in the Sanskrit or Chinese or Tibetan text, there are variations related with the chronology of the Buddha. So we scholars, when we are talking about the date of the Buddha, we have to consider much about on the our short chronology also. We are the countries related with the South Asian countries. We are mainly discussing about the long chronology, mainly based upon the Deepavans, Mahavans, Samantapasadika. But we are not taking consideration of the short chronology. And mainly the Japanese scholars and the Chinese scholars, they are discussing about this short chronology. Now we are coming to the dotted chronology, that is the dotted chronology. And it is a very, you can say, interesting to note that after the death of the Buddha, it is said that the first Vasavas, in which all the recitations of the text were made, then one dotted was given. And in the there is a succession of our Vinay Dhar also. If you go through the Kathavathu text, we are finding there is a tradition of the Vinay Dhar, namely Dasak, Sonak, Siggav, Mogliput, Tisthir, Chandabhaji, and others also. Even Sangbhadra, who presumably translated the Samantapasadika into Chinese, is said to have put the 975 dots on the manuscript during a visit to Canton in 418 BC, thus establishing the Buddha's death in 486 BC. So much of the calculation was surveyed by our Egarmont in his book, The Chronology of the Reign of the King Ashoka Maurya. He has discussed in a very detailed manner from the pages 132 to 143. But the definite study of the dotted record was of Mr. Wao Pachao, the Chinese scholar. Given the data chronology suggests that the dotted record is indeed based on the Theravada tradition, and particularly with the corrected long chronology. And this was clearly noted by J. Takakasu of Japan. It is very interesting to note that when at the time of the Buddha, there was no any, you can say, writing method. All the texts were in oral tradition, Mukh Path Vasena. How the texts were recited and the dot was given on the text. After 1 year, when the recitations in the Bassa was, all the texts were recited by the Binay Dhar. There is a tradition of the Binay Dhar. And how it has happened, it is further investigation by the research scholars. Again, H. Bechard and Pachau explains the association in very much detail regarding the creative explanation of the dating. No modern scholars affirm the validity of the dotted record. So our modern scholars like Richard F. Gombrich or Sri Lankan scholars and even K. Norman and other scholars, they do not consider it as a dotted record, as a validity for the chronology of the Buddha. But Akira Hirakawa of Japan, he notes that we cannot take seriously the idea that after Upali compiled the Vinay, he memorized it and added a dot after the end of the Pavarana, after Basavasa. So reason is that Upali's time Vinay was still memorized and transmitted verbally. And in Vinay also we are having that the fifth text of Vinay Pitaka, Parivar, which was compiled or composed in Sri Lanka in the 7th century AD. Then how the fifth text of the Vinay Pitaka was given a dot in that? So that is a matter of investigation also. So these are some of the things, and the modern scholars before, and we are aware that in 1988 in London there was a Göttingen conference related with the international conference on the date of the Buddha, and it was decided by all the scholars regarding the dates of the Buddha, that and they have summarized the date of Buddha from 448 to 368 BC. Even Lance Cousins also, in an insightful review, he suggested that the primary reason for Bijat belief does appear to be his acceptance of the claim that there is evidence for the presence of the short chronology based upon the Deepvansa, Mahavansa, and Samantapasadika. Further, Cousins goes on to indicate that he believes this argument to be mistaken. So these are the views of the scholars at the time of the last, you can say, century, when the Göttingen conference was held in 1988. So again, the Richard F. Gombrich has taken 100-year back date of the Buddha, that is the birth of the Buddha, and he has given 404 BC related with the birth of the Buddha. The main basis for the Gombrich argumentation focuses on the pupillary succession of the Buddha's Vinay disciples. And he has given that there is a succession of the Vinay disciples from at the time of the Buddha till, you can say, third Buddhist council. And he has given the chronology of each disciple from Sigavas, Dasaka, Mogliputta Tisather, and other. So here in this data is preserved in 4 primary texts: the Parivar, which is the index of the Vinay Pitaka, the introductory section of the Samantapasadika, that is the Bahir Nidan, and Vinay comment, which is known as the Samantapasadika, Deepvansa and Mahavansa. So this is the main argumentations. So Richard F. Gombrich has given the main discussion about the you can say chronology of the Vinay Dhar from the time of the Buddha to you can say till Ashoka's time. and he has given all these scholars in a very, you can say, and in that way he says that in between the second Buddhist council and third Buddhist council, there is a gap of only 16 years, and which is also not accepted by other Indian or Sri Lankan or our Southeast Asian countries, which are mainly based on our Deepavans, Mahavans, or Samantapasadika. So, lastly, we are coming to the K.R. Norman, and he says that none of the canonical Binay accounts of the second Buddhist council, and which mentions the king who in which reigned the second Buddhist council was held. If you go through the last two chapters of the Chulvagga, that is the 11th chapter and the 12th chapter, that is the Sat Satika and Panchasatika. Panchasatika discusses the first Buddhist council and Sat Satika discusses the second Buddhist council. There is no any mention of the king in which region this council was held. So this is the matter of another, you can say, investigation. And even in the Mahavans refers Asok as a Kala Asok, Sisunag Putra in the Samantapasadika. And this will tally with some other Buddhist texts also, which argue that Asok and Kalasok were indeed the same individual. So there are some of the scholars who are of the opinion that Kalasok, in which a second Buddhist council was held, and the King Asok, in which the third Buddhist council was held at Patliputra, both are the same. But in the text, Depavans, Mahavans, we are not able to discuss all these things in a detailed manner. So, mainly our Asoka Vadan or Udan Satak or Mool Sarvastivad Vinay, which are mainly the Buddhist Sanskrit text, all of them support the contention that King Asok coronation would occur 100 years after the Buddha's Parinibbana. In affirming the short chronology, this also makes all complicated to decipher that what is the date of the Buddha. So, based on the date of the Asoka coronation affirmed by the virtually all scholars, that would establish the Buddha's death in 368 BC. So, this is the main problem regarding to do. Again, Nakamura, who is a scholar of Japan, he is now no more. He says that date of the Buddha's death is 383 BC. Now we are, Indian government has established 483. So he has taken 100 year back. And his main contention, Nakamura's date of Buddha's Parinibbana, is mainly based upon the Sanskrit, Chinese, and Tibetan traditions. And he has given the reference of the text also. I am not going to discuss it. Now I am just summarizing that being the historians, when we are going to discuss the chronology of the history of India and other things, we have to agree that first Buddhist council, which was held in Rajgir during the first rainy season following the Buddha's Parinibbana. So many scholars suppose that this event may have been fictitious, invented upon the occasion of the second Buddhist council, so as to lend authenticity to the sequence of events following the Buddha's death. So again, regarding the third Buddhist council, which was non-canonical council at Patliputra, is postulated some years later. But in canonical text, we are not having the descriptions of the third Buddhist council. And this is also creating a problem, either 16 years or 37 years following the second Buddhist council. So, related with these, I would like to, when the questions and answers were going on, Professor Dr. Bedbir Arya was also talking about the chronology of the Ramayana. And Ramayana, he was discussing In Pali text also we are having in one of the Jatakas as a Dasrath Jataka. And Richard F. Gombrich says that this Ram Katha, which discusses in the Dasrath Jataka, it is mainly a fabricated or you can say given later on in a fabricated manner. It is not real Ram Katha. Even in the Pali text, in the Sanjukta Nikaya, we are having Phenupam Sutta also. In Phenupam Sutta, we are having one reference that Ekam Samaya Bhagava, Gangai Nadiya Tire Ayojham Viharati. That once upon a time, Blessed One was dwelling at Ayodhya, which was situated at the river of Ganga. But the present Ayodhya is not based upon the our Ganga river, but based upon the Sarju river. So that is also a matter of investigations. But the Indian scholars have said that this the Pali literature which says that Gangai Nadiya Tire Ayodhyam Biyarati, the Ayodhya which was associated at Ganga Nadi, it was mainly based upon the Saket, that is the Kosal Pradesh. Again, in Dasrath Jatak, we are having one reference that the capital of Ayodhya was at Varanasi, and Dasrath was the king of Ayodhya, which was not Ayodhya, Ayodhya, and it was situated at Varanasi. Again, when Ram came back from the forest after 12 years, in Dasrath Jatak as it depicts, he also came to Varanasi and became the king, the coronation ceremony. So there are so many variations, there are so many fabricated stories which have been given in our Pali text also, in Sanskrit Buddhist text also. So before we discuss the chronology of the history of India and the world, we have to discuss also about the history of our Buddhist era. We have to, first of all, being the Indian scholars, as well as we have to take support from the Sri Lankan scholars, as well as our Thai and Burmese and other scholars. First, we have to fix our Buddhist era, that what is the birth of the Buddha and what is the Mahaparidnibbana of the Buddha. Then we can discuss the other things. So until unless we do not take our Asian scholars or European scholars regarding the chronology of the history related with the Buddha, first of all, we cannot make a chronology. So I have gone one book also which has been written by the Dr. Bedbir Arya. Some of the portions which he has discussed about the Buddha and Mahavir also, some of the things which I do not agree with that, but it is a very wonderful work what Bedbir Arya has pointed out. We, the Indian scholars, must consider it. First of all, Government of India, with the association, in association with the ICHR and others, Indian system of Government of India or Ministry of Education, we have to decide first of all that what is the really Buddhist era. We have to fix first of all Buddhist era, then we can take it back the Ramayana or Mahabharata, and then we can discuss the other things also. With these words, I thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share my views with the scholars, galaxy of scholars. Although I am not a scholar of mainly archaeological history or Ved Purana or Mahabharata, whatever I have shared the views, it is mainly based upon our Pali text as well as Sanskrit Buddhist text. So this is a humble submission before the August gathering to consider it. First of all, what we have to decide, the Buddhist era, we have to make a search or investigation of that. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. Thank you very much.